We are currently in Tempe, Arizona, in the Phoenix metro area, and we're currently in one of the aqueducts behind a housing area. And within this aqueduct, we're essentially going around looking for scorpions and counting how many there are in these locations during new moons and full moons to essentially establish whether or not there is a difference in their foraging behaviors during those two periods. So the overall goal of all of this is essentially to establish different techniques through IPM or with IPM in conjunction to what we already use for scorpions, which has to do with a lot of exclusion methods such as caulking or foaming these walls or providing exclusionary practices. And then the bread and butter that many use on scorpions is insecticides. And if we can understand better how scorpions respond during a new moon and a full moon, as well as to what wavelengths of light they may be avoiding, we could potentially develop alternative methods using light to essentially control for them, creating apparatuses that potentially light up areas we don't want them to harbor in, or providing essentially solutions to homeowners that already have aesthetic lights or things like that, and telling them to change out the wavelengths in those lights potentially. The other idea behind all of this, if we know that scorpions are going to be more abundant, more out and about doing their foraging, we can essentially spray or treat prior to that and get more effective control versus on, say, a full moon, which we suspect that they will be more or they will be less likely to forage during due to the light conditions. If you treat during a full moon, you may not get any scorpions. So the reason there's such a emphasis on managing the scorpions is both because they are considered a nuisance pest as well as a medically significant arthropod pest as well. While their likelihood of stinging is low, they are more so wanting to run rather than get into a defensive posture and potentially sting. The chance of sting is still there. And depending on individual, susceptibility plays a big role, but on average, most individuals, if you're stung, depending on the extremity, are going to experience about 8 hours of pretty severe pain. It usually doesn't require going to the hospital, but depending on susceptibility, it could lead to a hospital visit, especially with pre-existing conditions. So the reason scorpions fluoresce under UV light is due to two compounds within their cuticle. My personal hypothesis, and this has been suspected by several other authors, is essentially they use it to identify when they are seen or unseen, potentially by predators. So during a new moon, where there should be no lighting conditions, or essentially it's dark, they shouldn't be fluorescing whatsoever. There should be no UV spectra, and they should essentially be invisible to predators and not be able to identify themselves as being uncovered. Under a full moon, however, they are much more likely to be visible, or at least visible to other creatures such as predators, kangaroo mice, owls, other types that hunt them, may be able to see them lightly fluorescing under that UV spectra given by the moon. As to where if scorpions are beneficial arthropods, they are quite ravenous at eating a variety of other arthropod pests in and around these urban environments. We often see them eating a variety of moths, a variety of caterpillars of those moths potentially. We've recently seen them eating other spiders as well, which can be a pest to some individuals. A lot of people don't like seeing them in the house. But especially when it comes to pest roaches, we often see them consuming this type of prey very regularly in the field. So as we can see right here with this guy, this one is currently actually eating at this very moment, and we often see that quite a bit with the Turkestan roaches as well as the American cockroaches as well.